Hello, and thank you for joining us as we continue to walk with Jesus through Lent as he heads to the cross. This week, we found ourselves in Matthew 17 in the region of Galilee. And as we look at the passage, we find Jesus, Peter, James, and John rejoining the crowd, and they find that the other disciples are experiencing a spiritual obstacle. A man with a son who's demonically impressed has come to the disciples for healing, and they've been unable to drive the demon out thus far. And so the man comes to Jesus and asks for him to intervene. Now, Jesus' response might startle us at first. He says, "You unbelieving and perverse generation, how long shall I put up with you?" But then Jesus immediately heals the boy, and so we know that these words don't reveal a heart unwilling to act, but rather that Jesus is trying to remind us of the crucial element in any spiritual journey, and that's faith. Now, as Jesus is saying these words, he's actually echoing what God said to the Israelite nation in Numbers 14 when they refused to go in and take the land because 10 of the 12 spies had come back and said, "We can't do this. There are giants in the land." And so God says, "How long shall I put up with you? Despite my clear presence with you, despite all the miracles you've seen, you still don't have faith that you can overcome these obstacles as long as I am with you?" And so as Jesus echoes these words, he's essentially saying to the disciples, "I've been with you. You've seen my miracles. Why is it that you lack the faith that while I'm with you and in my name, you can overcome the obstacle of this demonic oppression?" And so Jesus tells the disciples, if only you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you could say unto this mountain, be thrown into the sea, nothing will be impossible for you, as long as they remember Jesus is with them. Now, the placement of this passage is really great because Peter, James, and John, as they rejoined the crowd with Jesus, they had just descended down from the Mount of Transfiguration. They had literally seen the full glory of Jesus unveiled and seen Emmanuel, God with us, in his full glory. And so the reminder for us in these passages is that Jesus was with them, God was with them. And we might think in our own spiritual journey, sure, if Jesus was with me, I'd have faith to overcome my obstacles. If there was a pillar of fire with me, I'd have faith to do whatever God called me to on my spiritual journey. But the encouragement is that we should remember that God is with us. That when we place our faith in Jesus, the Holy Spirit indwells us. We have Emmanuel, God with us. And so the key to bold faith in our spiritual journey is not a journey absent from obstacles, but to remember that God is with us. I had a chaplain in college that every year would share the same message with incoming freshmen. He'd recount the story of the bad report about giants in the land, and he'd tell the students and their parents, listen, here at this college, there are no giants in the land. And while he meant to encourage them, I think that was poor encouragement. Because the reality is that there are giants in the land. We do face obstacles in our spiritual journey. Because where God calls us to go forward, we have an enemy that doesn't want us to go there. And so the key to remembering to be bold is not absence of obstacles, but to say, greater is he that is within me than he that is within the world. And so your spiritual journey, you might be facing obstacles, whether it's fear or anger, or some other abiding sin, or just opposition. And that's an invitation from Jesus to remember that he is with you, and that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible for you.